Yes, my people, welcome back to another episode of Where's My Podcast. And today we're joined by another special guest, a very special guest. We're joined by Stylist, founder, influencer, Alizé Demange. Alizé?
What an intro. You made me sound really big.
No, but Alizé, you don't get me wrong. I'm going to talk. Look,
Yeah.
first of all, thank you so much for coming on the platform.
Thanks for having me as well.
No.
And thanks for your patience.
Oh, no, thank you for your patience as well, because obviously we rescheduled first, remember?
Did you?
Yeah.
It was only by 2 hours.
Yeah, but I really panicked over that rash. Remember how upset I was?
No, because you messaged me and I was like, oh, why is he panicking?
Yeah, you can tell I was
Yeah, I
panicking.
was like, it's okay. And then something came up for me and I was like, I can't come.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then I felt so dumb afterwards. I was like, I remember like seeing your message like you can't come, and I just laughed like, bruv, you gotta let life happen. But Alize, at the beginning of every episode,
Listen, I just want you to know how much I was restrained yesterday to make sure that I could be here today.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I was like, no, I must be in bed by 12.
And that means a lot though.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I have to be alive for this podcast. Yeah.
No, and you got the energy this morning, which is good. Perfect. So yeah, Alize, at the beginning of every episode, I basically speak for like 2 minutes while you, the guest, are in the chair. So basically,
cool.
why I wanted you here. And obviously off camera, I've been telling you, and I've told people, Rash knows, like you were one of the first people that I said, you know, I need to get this person on the podcast. Because you know, what we're trying to do is obviously inspire, educate, and inform the next generation of fashion talent. And there's certain people within this fashion space, but I feel like one, have something to say, and two, I feel like genuinely want to do that. And I feel like everything I've seen you doing from the minute I found out about you until now has shown that you're so willing to help people. So I really wanted to get that energy on this.
Make me cry.
No, but for real, Alice, honestly, genuine. Obviously, you're an incredible stylist. You've done incredible things for so long. And one of the main things I wanted to talk about was how you've been able to position yourself as more than a stylist. Like, as we were speaking off camera, often, whether it's in fashion or whether it's in sport, you often kind of get, what's the word? You start to get defined by what you produce rather than who you are. But from tracking your journey, it's like, it's always been Alize first, whatever you're doing second. And I think that's commendable. And I want to talk about how you kind of done that. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting that you say that because I
Do
feel
it on
like that's
purpose.
actually been more of a conscious change recently,
Okay.
more than what it was at the beginning. Sorry, did I cut your?
Oh,
teeth?
yeah, that's
Sorry.
cool. That's
Go on.
cool.
Yeah.
One more thing, which is basically linked to that. Like, yeah, I just want to know how you've been able to do it, Alize, man, because you've done a lot, not just within the styling world, but again, leaning into your influencer bag. I'm working with brands. And my last thing, actually, everyone I've spoke to about you has said very good things about you.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, like I spoke to Woozy.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm so proud of her.
Fantastic.
Then I saw ASOS, I was top shot.
Massive, innit?
Yeah, and also, do you know what? Because I was randomly looking at something and I was like, how have I not seen this? I saw it and I was like, why have I not seen this?
She's
And
so
I saw her
talented,
like
innit?
next week, the following week, pick up something. And I was like, babe,
What you doing?
why is there not more?
It's like, I said the same thing to her. I was like, it's like, there's certain things that people are doing that people aren't realizing the significance of, and what she did
That's
with
a
Topshop.
massive thing.
Massive.
And it starts, especially for a small brand, as soon as you start having those start partnerships, it continues, it
Gets
trickles
bigger and
on,
bigger.
and then you know your brand's going to move bigger.
Exactly.
And that you want that as a small brand. You want, essentially, what's annoying, you want recognition.
Facts.
Yeah,
We all
you
need it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Woozy spoke so highly of you, and yeah, man, I just thought me and you would have a great conversation, and so far,
Yeah, I
it's
think
been vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alize, there's only one place to start. Let's take it all the way back to the beginning. Like, where are you from? Where did you grow up? How was it? And then we'll go from there.
Okay, cool. So, hi guys. So I started from the beginning.
Beginning.
Okay, so I was born in London, grew up in London, from West London. Went to school in South London. You're gonna have to prompt me a little bit.
Okay.
It's like my own little story. I don't really talk about this part.
You know what though? Do you know why I asked that question, Alize? Because I always want to see where fashion kind of came into the journey.
Oh, okay.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I have a story for that.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so my family. So my mum's from Belgium and my dad's from Martinique and France.
Yeah.
It's French Caribbean and France mixed. And my granny came here to London late 70s, early 80s. And she was just always a very stylish, had furs and heels and makeup. And my mum wasn't really girly like that. So when I used to go to my granny's every single weekend, I'd try everything on, literally be in her wardrobe for hours, putting her makeup on. And then that's what I think brought my interest into fashion, because I was like, it's so fun and cool being glamorous. And I was very arty. Like, a lot of people in my family are creative, even if they haven't been able to like make that their life. I think naturally there's creativity in my family. So my mum always encouraged me to like do art and draw and and like when I was little, I really wanted to be like a fine artist. And I was always like illustrating and stuff like that. And then as I got older, I was like, I really like fashion design. I want to make dresses. You know, it's like proper girly, everything girl vibe. I think it's the dolls and like ballet and bullshit. Like, and then as I got into secondary school, I was like, actually, it was kind of crunch time, because I knew that when it goes to like art, when you want to go to like art school, you kind of have to make the decision kind of early on, because as soon as you know that you're going to your A levels or college, like you need to know that you're planning for that you're going to go to art school, because you have to kind of like start channeling your work to be viewed and critiqued.
Like building up a portfolio for
yeah.
you. Okay.
So I knew that I'm gonna go art school, however that was gonna go, and I kind of always knew that I was gonna do like something creative, and I said I want to be a fashion designer. Went to Kingston University to do a foundation, because at the time you had to do a foundation course before getting onto any BA creative course or art course. So I did like an art and design foundation at Kingston. Just passed it. And because I was doing other stuff at the time as well, like I was learning the importance of like doing other things, doing your own thing, doing other things, like learning off other people. And I was working for a couple of different people and just like learning and like shadowing and turning. And then I got onto a fashion design course at Kingston. I did 6 months and I completely like flopped it.
Alize, that's a good place for me to. Sorry, let me just cut you off on back a bit, because obviously, going back to what I said about the beginning about asking where you kind of came from or whatnot, I had a feeling, because you're French, I had a feeling that would have played an aspect into why you had such a zeal or passion for fashion, speaking about your nan and the influence she had on you and whatnot. Another side of that is obviously growing up in West London. We've spoken about West London before. And I think the fact you grew up in Fulham as well is an interesting place where you've got like, let's say, real West London, then you've got like...
Well, yeah, because I grew up in West Kent. Then, like, we had, like, a lot of, like, family issues until I was, like, 11. Now, my parents had to move to North, and then I lived in Chelsea with my nan for a bit. And then we got moved to Hammersmith.
Okay.
I stayed there a lot of my teenage years. And then we got my mum finally got her final yard. And then we got to move to Fulham.
That was in Fulham?
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously, you've grown up in different parts.
Yeah.
How do you think that influenced your style or your passion for fashion, if you want to call it?
I don't know. I think... if you're from West, I think it's such a privilege to live in West. I think there's a lot of like influence that you get from it that's kind of sick. Like you're always a bit inspired. Like I remember I used to be a waitress in Chelsea, and like you'd see everyone, like I'd know loads of people, but they're still getting to see a different side of life. Like you're still working class, but you still have the inspiration of the other side of life and what you can get, you could get, or maybe like have rubbing shoulders with certain people that kind of can influence your journey in a certain respect, which I think is kind of the sick thing about living in West. Like there is more entry points because it's there, it's actually living there. But in other ways as well, I think it does obviously show you like the disparity of wealth. Like it's mad. Like it's mad living like in a council flat and then next door is like 3 mil. Like
it's definitely a double-edged sword where it has that, what you said, it gives you that aspiration.
Yeah.
For some people it can make you feel quite insecure about
and also it changed even on like a socio-economic level. Like I remember our Tesco's was more expensive because it was in that area, but it also had a bunch of people that could not afford it, and it's like per area they changed the price of stuff. So like a bottle of water could be £1.50 in Tesco in Fulham, but it'll be like 90p in like Elephant and Castle, and like that is why is it not the level play? It doesn't equal the playing field, but I think that's just London period. But there's a lot of that as well. It's like that comparison can make you feel insecure. It can go either way. It's either inspo or it's going to hold you down, hold you back. And I think that's the hard part about life growing up here, because it's
tough.
Sometimes I feel like it's hard work, but it's also luck. I think it's a bit of both.
And how did being in that environment like manifest in your style, like the way you dressed?
I think everyone says West girls dress different. I think that's just been like some weird stereotype since like school. I just liked fashion. I think I just liked dressing the way I like to dress, and And you know, when you're in school, everyone's kind of trying to do what everyone else is doing, and you're trying to fit in. And as soon as like we started to leave a bit, and I started going raving and going partying and being around people that actually like felt like I was on the same like my like wavelength as me, I was like, yeah, nah, this is me. Yeah. Like it was also a time like trainers weren't really a thing for girls and stuff.
Yep.
And I love trainers and I love high tops, and it was like, it was the new, so when I started being like 17, 18, it's like 2009, 2008. So like it was the new rave time, and like people were starting to like dress kind of like with an 80s flair and like neon and like high tops and stuff and rope chains and all that. And I was like, I fucking love this shit. And I was going yo-yos, and I was like in Notting Hill, and that was like a big thing because there was loads of like artists and creatives going there, and it was like a mix and blend of loads of different people like from ends, and like people were like doing shit, and that was sick as well because it's like you could see how people were like, for me it was an entry point in seeing like how creatives live, move, are able to be themselves, and I didn't have that from secondary school. You're not yourself.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean?
Facts.
Like although I will say that I have still a lot of friends from secondary, college that are my core group of friends in it, and it's always so nice to be able to go back to like, I don't want to say normal people, but grounded people that know me and know like my whole journey and stuff. And literally I was with them yesterday, and they always are so proud of me, and that's so nice. Like I actually have, that's I think something that people don't always have, is like people around you that are supportive and truly there for you on a genuine level, and that makes all the difference in you being able to be the authentic person that you are.
Facts.
And be the person you want to be.
Facts. And particularly in a field like fashion or creative fields in general, you need people that are going to remind you who you are, because authenticity is what gets you to certain places.
Yeah, and because you can get lost in like the whole thing of it. And obviously you meet a lot of people transactionally all the time, and that is the nature of it. It's not, there's nothing wrong with it, but you need your people. Like you need that. Every human needs that. And for me personally, I need it. I need that to regenerate and, you know, get to know me again. But yeah.
You need that core.
I don't even know whether that even makes sense.
No,
it's just like kind of like a completely different answer. Like,
hey, don't worry, Alize.
Yeah.
Go from here. So we'll go back to uni in a second or whatever.
Yeah.
But prior to you doing your art and so your design was art and design
foundation. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like, of course, being a stylist at this point wasn't on the horizon.
No, I didn't really. I think also at the time, like now, you know, it's so much easier to see credits, see what people's job titles are, know who everyone that is a part of the picture of what someone does. At the time when I thought fashion, I only knew fashion designer.
Hear it.
I didn't know what other jobs were. I thought that's what you just go and do. It was quite linear. It was like, you know, you go to school, you go do this, and then da-da-da. And it was like, okay, I become a fashion designer, I'm just working fashion. And then on my art and design foundation course, there was like a pathway for styling. You do like a little module and you do a little project. And I was like, I really like this actually. And then luckily, like I had like a family friend or like a friend of a friend that had like a friend of a friend that had needed an assistant for something. And I started like assisting her. Like I did like a random test shoot and like a video. And then I was like starting to kind of think, oh, okay, I think I really like doing this. I'm going to like try and angle to do certain things like this. I had a friend that was from my area and we used to go partying together and that. And he was starting to do Real Aura at the time at Carnival. And then I started like assisting him. And that was kind of like and then I was also working with, she was like my uncle's friend who wanted to do a brand. And because she knew that I was really interested in fashion, she kind of like got me to like help on it. And then also because I grew up in West, I was around Trapstar a lot.
Oh yeah.
Trap, like Mikey helped me a lot in lots of different things. And like that was also a very, very, very big part of being able to see someone from our area, from our background, doing something that transcended, like that went so much further than just
the norm of what people do.
Yeah. Especially creating streetwear, which at the time was also supposed to not really make any money or impact. And that's like surpassed everything. So there was a lot of examples around me. And I think that ties into being from West. There was actually examples around me where people were actually doing stuff. And that was the inspo and was allowing me to think I can do that too. And that was a privilege.
And at that point where you kind of started veering in towards styling, what made you interested in styling? Because obviously fashion design and styling, of course.
As soon as I got onto that course,
you knew straight away.
I was like,
this ain't for
I
me.
can't like, I don't, as soon as like we got on sewing machines and stuff like that, I was like, I just don't care. I was just like, I'm trying to retain this information. I can't retain it. Like, also, I think as an adult at a later age, like I'm gonna get diagnosed with ADHD, and like I can't retain certain information unless I'm super interested in it, or it takes me a lot of one-to-one practice time. Like when you're in a uni situation, they show you something once and they tell you fuck off, go and learn it on your own. And like that for me, from transitioning. No one really talks about as well, transitioning from a school environment where you're like a little bit coddled. Also, I didn't go college. I stayed at my sixth form. Then I went to uni and it was all like, this is bare independent stuff. And like at art school, it's quite competitive. It's quite very like, you got to do it yourself and you got to, you know, be on job. And I was just a bit like frazzled. Like I didn't really... It was just a bit of a culture shock for me. I was a bit confused, and partly as well because I wasn't really connecting with it.
Yeah.
And I think I wasn't connecting with the university. I wasn't connecting with people in my course. I was finding it very isolating coming from a very diverse school and then going to a very white environment and not really understanding my place in it. And like at the time, I didn't really realize why I was finding it hard being there. Like I was finding it hard to be myself. I was finding it hard to like. It was just, I didn't understand it at the time, but looking back, I was just like, I feel out of place. When also I wasn't looking back, I was starting to feel like I wasn't cool enough to be there. I felt like.
That's so mad.
Honestly, it's weird. Also, because a lot of the people when you go in there, like, they're like middle class, upper class, posh, not from London. They come, they travel in, their parents are paying for them to go. Like, I was meeting like really like undercover rich people, like people I'd never even known, like boarding school. Like I'd never interact with anyone that goes that stuff, and I was really confused. Like it's like you stay very much in your own bubble, innit? And then going to that, I was just like, I don't really feel like. And obviously, friends help you in an educational environment, like having people to bounce off, learn off, like that really does help you continue the journey. And I just felt quite isolated. However, there are a couple of people from my uni that I still really like and I'm still really cool with. And they've helped me do stuff and I've helped them do stuff. So blah, blah, blah. But I just, obviously, that's the real of the situation. Yeah. I left. I had actually quite a mental breakdown.
No, Alize.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
No, we'll get into that because I was kind of going to ask a question that's along them lines because speaking about your journey so far, obviously learning from your nan and whatnot, being so in love with fashion, and you just told yourself, I'm going to become a fashion designer.
It was all my life. It was like literally my whole definition of what I thought it was going to be. And as soon as I realised I didn't like it, I was mashed up.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you deal with that?
It was mad, you know. I didn't stop crying for months. Like, I just went into a proper, like, horrible depressive. Sorry, I don't want to, like, get upset about it because actually, like, sad every time I think about it. It's like I went into, like, also feeling really isolated in the court because I was like, I didn't really want to go. I was like trying to catch up and then not. I feel like a lot of people have gone through this when you're just like battling with something and you don't even know what's going on and you don't even know why you feel that way and like why I just don't even really want to be there. And I was starting to feel like embarrassed as well because I feel anxious about going there. Also, anyone that's been like in an art environment, you have crits where you have to present to everyone in the class and like the teacher gives you their feedback in front of everyone. And that is so nerve-wracking if you haven't done that before. And obviously also when you really kind of care, all you know, like someone like me, when I haven't done the work, I know I haven't done it, so I know I'm not proud. When you know you're proud of something, you can just sit there. But it's also really hard when maybe you are proud of something and some random woman is saying, I think that looks like shit. And that's hard to take, but it prepares you for the real world when people actually do tell you that. But it's hard at you're still kind of a kid.
100%.
You're still kind of a kid. Like, it's hard to
You're not, there's no way you can be that age and have that level of resilience to just back those things off. And sorry to fixate on the uni stuff, Alize, but going back to what you discussed about almost feeling othered from the people you were around on that course, do you feel like sometimes there may have been a disconnect between you and your tutors in the sense that because you were different from everyone else?
I have a really good thing on that one.
Okay.
Because basically when I started to realise there was actually something like mentally wrong with me at the time, and it was like actually I started to have to look at mitigating circumstances, whether I needed to repeat the year, whether it's like, do I need to just take a step back or da-da-da. And obviously I was talking to the course leader, saying what was going on with me. And she was like, well, she said to me, I can't believe this, you know. I'm not even now. She was like, well, you weren't even really meant to be on this course.
God.
You passed. I don't even know how you got on this, but you're here, which makes me think that basically because of my race, that maybe I was a quota, and that's why I was on that course. Because I think it was me and one other mixed race girl on that course. There was like, no, 2 other mixed race girls. There was no black girls on that course, and there was no black boys on that course. So like looking back on it, it might have been. I feel like it probably was that, to be honest. Like, because normally they wouldn't take you on if you'd have to have like the higher one, not merit, but
distinction
to get to be put on. And I was just, and then she just made me feel like shit. And I was just like, I'm like pouring up my heart to you. So
but
I'm
how
depressed.
can you say that?
Like, yeah.
A 19
It's like, so like if you want to come back on, like we'll let you come back on to restart the year. And yeah. She's like, but you just get your mitigating circumstances and get signed off. You got to get signed off by the doctor and say that. So I got all that patterned. And then I sat and I was like, I'm never coming fucking back here. I was like, I didn't like that. I was like, and I'm not. And then there was a proudness of me, but there was also something I was like, I can't come back here.
Facts.
I didn't like any of that. That was weird. Like it couldn't even come with like some empathy and compassion. It was so weird. And it was like, it basically made me feel like I don't belong here.
Facts.
Literally outwardly. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go off and do my own thing. Told everyone. I told my friends, they were like, why are you leaving? Even my friend said, why are you leaving? Just stick it out, like it's calm, like just do it, da-da-da. I told my boyfriend at the time, he was like, why are you doing that? Just stick it out, da-da-da. And then I told my parents, and they were like, oh, but my parents were like, actually, like, I think they were kind of worried about me, to be honest. So they was just like, as long, either you go back to uni, you go to work in it now, like, it's either one or the other. I was like, I'm cool with that. And in the face of everyone telling me I made the wrong choice, I was like, I know I haven't made the wrong choice. I'm really, really unhappy. And like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And like, actually, this is a good talking point for anyone that is going through that. Like, just do what your gut tells you to do. Don't listen to no one else. Do what you want to do. You know internally what's right for you. And like, you can always navigate that journey as you go along. Like, if something feels really bad, stop doing it. So I went to, I got a waitress job. I worked like the rest of the summer for like months. When I got a place in clearance, because I was like, I know I want to go back to uni. I like it. I like that environment. I just want to find something that's a bit more for me. So I found a course that was fashion marketing and textile design combo. And I thought, oh, a bit of academia, a bit of creative. That might work well for me. Ended up at London Met. Found it way nicer. Like, started connecting with people straight away.
Was it more diverse?
Yeah, immediately. Immediately.
Yeah, you see it.
Literally, I made a friend on the first day. You know what I mean? Like, and we're still really cool now. And I felt supported throughout my years there because I had a little people that I could relate to, understand, and I actually really enjoyed that course actually. And I got a 2-1 in the end.
Sick.
Yeah, I got a first in my dissertation.
Sick. Congrats,
Yeah,
Alizé.
thank you. But it just shows the power of like changing your thing.
Yeah.
Just change it.
Do you know what, Alizé? Sorry to backtrack again.
Yeah.
Remember when you were saying...
And I was at uni for 5 years, by the way. It took me 5 years to do that. Like, because
of the breaks and...
Because, yeah, the breaks, doing the art foundation, coming on, like, I done it, and, like, it's long, and, like, I was seeing people fucking getting their cars and, like, starting to move out, and I was still there, like...
Yeah.
Broke and but, I stuck with it.
Yeah, everyone's story is
different
at the end of the day. But I wanted to ask Alizé, at that point where you were feeling such a way, and I'm sure that manifested in terms of what people around you were seeing, why do you think your friends and your boyfriend at the time were saying, just stick it out? Where do you think that kind of comes from?
I think it was just like... sometimes it's just what people think is the right thing to say. Like, as in, like, you can get through this, just stick it out, like it's just a blip. I think that's what they were viewing it as, rather than, like, actually, like, she's really unhappy in this. And that maybe that's just down to my personal communication. Also, mental health talking's come a long way
100%.
since then. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
we were very young. Like, I was, like, not even 21. Like, I was 19. I think everyone was just like, just do it. Like, as in, like, we have this, especially with my friends, like, we all have the opportunity to go uni. Like, just do it. Like, and also I think they just believed in me. Like, I don't think it was malicious in any way. Like, I think they was just trying to also be supportive and instill in me that I could do this. Whereas I was trying to communicate it that actually I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't like it because I'm feeling insecure. I was like, there's something about this I'm just not connecting to at all. And that's okay.
I definitely don't think it was malicious either. I was just looking at it from another angle in the sense that when you come from particular backgrounds, it's like when you get to certain places or whatever, certain institutions, people feel like you just got to
take it.
Yeah.
And I think it was that too. And I understand that totally. And even from a different perspective, like I'm even going through it with my own family now. Like we've got a cousin that the family's like, oh, she needs to finish uni. She's got opportunity to do this. And my uncle's like, can you talk to her to get her to finish? And I was just like, well, ultimately she should finish. She's got a year left or something. But if she really feels like drawn to do something, I can't tell her not to do it. Like, it's just like you're an adult now in certain respects. Like there's something within you that's going to tell you where to go and where to pull to. But yeah, I guess basically the sensiblest thing to say is everyone's going to always say is just finish it. I had assistants that wanted to drop out in the last year, and I was going, just fucking finish it.
Yeah. But at the same breath, you
also
still
last year, like I'm like, come on, just finish it. Like you spent all that money now. Like,
whereas yours was first year.
Yeah, it was literally the first 6 months.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Cool. So going back to London Met now. So at this point, were you just still doing a bit of freelance work for people or just assisting?
Yeah, I was just trying to do any of my own projects I could shoot, like trying to work with anyone that, like any opportunity, lots of things, definitely for free. I wasn't like, nothing was really paid for me yet. Also, you know, shout out, I was at the time when uni was a lot cheaper. And I was getting that nice maintenance grant.
Yeah.
I was living with my parents. So like I was able, all those aspects helped me be able to do things I wanted to do. And I can't take that away from that. Like, because I was at university, I was studying, my parents were off my back. I didn't really have to work because I had a maintenance grant. So I was able to like live. Actually, that's a lie because I end up doing other things, but we'll come back to that. And then, so I was able to also, I went uni like 3 or 4 days a week. So all my other time, I was spent shooting, collaborating, doing stuff. Interning.
During that time, because I remember earlier you was talking about how when it came to fashion, it's like almost like fashion design was the only set path that people knew about, and it was like you go to uni and then whatever happens after that. Whereas with styling, I suppose it was a bit more mucky in terms of knowing how to kind of get into it. So how did you kind of find out what to do to become a stylist?
Also, there was like a big sacrifice early on. You know, when I said like at secondary school, I had to like start committing, so I knew that I'm gonna go to art school. I knew I was not gonna have the uni experience like all my friends did. Like they moved away, they like had that proper like campus experience. I knew I had to stay in London because there's no chance of me moving away because when you work in fashion, you need to stay here. And that I knew that I would have to work at the same time to catch up and not leave it to the end of the 3 years. Like, unfortunately, in the creative path, like you need to be doing it all while you're at uni to kind of build that foundation, because once you leave as well, then it's a whole other shock. You think you're going to get a job straight away, you don't. Like you think you're going to start making money, you don't. Like, you know what I mean? And you don't have the backup of being able to go class, like have that purpose of every day going somewhere. That's gone now, so you're going to have to fill that all back up with work. But yeah, because I had like a few people around me that kind of were already doing it, or so I had like one of my best friends. She was studying at LCF, but it's so weird. It's like we didn't know each other and we didn't talk to each other in school. But
you went secondary school?
Yeah, but we knew each other.
Yeah.
And then she ended up going to LCF to do photography degree, and then we would start working together. And she'd let me go and come to the studio at LCF to like style things for her, and then I started getting portfolio work. So I was always trying to like build like from people around me that was trying to like, do things, and I was just always happy to do it. Like I was just happy to be there. Like, so that was kind of just also it was a lot of DIY, innit? Like I was trying to just make things happen, like where I could make it happen. Like I did try and do the traditional route, like of trying to get a publication internship or like be with a bigger stylist, but I always felt like I was getting told no, and it was just a bit like. After a while, I was just like, oh man, like, I can't fund this. I'll just do my own things. And also, our culture was also doing really cool stuff. Like at the time, I was working with little magazines that were like being founded, and like blogs were a big thing at the time. And So there was always something to do. I always feel like if you were looking to do it, there's always something you could be doing.
Facts. Wait, so
yeah.
when you were getting the nose and stuff, obviously, considering everything you've mentioned, you must have built up a real portfolio, do you know what I'm saying? And you were doing this off of all your own back.
Yeah.
So how comes when you tried to go down the traditional route, you were getting knockbacks? What do you think it was because of?
Well, one time I went for an interview at Vogue to be an intern, and I went there and they were like, at this point, I actually had done some stuff, you know, like I had some small things, and they were like, oh, like, I did my CV wrong, innit? But I didn't have any of this skills. I can't lie.
Where would you get it from? Who would have?
I did my CV wrong because at the time I didn't know that you need to put the most nearest start. How you say that?
The most recent experience
at the top rather than it being the other way
so you've done
around.
it chronologically, like.
Yeah, I've done it chronologically, and they picked it up and they're like, "You've done your CV wrong," and I was just like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Oh, like so you think you're a stylist, yeah?" And I was like, "Okay," and I was like, and they were like, "We just don't think you've got enough experience to do this job. Like you haven't done FedEx before." What's
FedEx?
So I went on to have a marketing assistant job at Le Coq Sportif after I finished uni. Yeah? FedEx is literally, you can learn that in 20 minutes.
Okay.
You literally go on the account, you book where it goes. It's literally postage.
Oh, so it's FedEx, the mailing system. They tried to use that as a way to tell you that you got experience. Yeah, I didn't have no experience
because I hadn't been in like any other publication scenarios. And I was just like, do you know what, Pippa, whoever the fuck you are, or wherever you are. Yeah, it was just shit, innit? It made me go, I have proper cried when I have to go like, yeah, because I was just like, oh man, another experience of being made to feel like I don't belong here and I'm just too shit to be here. Yeah. But I was just like, also, I'm very sensitive, so I do take things quite personally. But I do think from a creative level, because it does feel like it's about you personally. It does often feel that way. But then it just kind of did push me more to just always try and do my thing.
Yep.
People will follow. Like I learned that from Mikey. Mikey's always told me that, like, you do your thing, trust me, they'll come knocking at your door for your juice that they're using to replicate in what they do.
Facts.
Like, you just do your thing.
This is so interesting because it's like, from having seen like, not the end point, but the current point of Alize, and I had all my conceptions, as I was saying, like, it's almost as if Alize's been the focal point and then everything else comes secondary to it. As we've had this conversation, I'm starting to realize why things are like that because of the stuff that you've been through and the experiences you've had. So you're like, I'm going to do it my way. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to try and bend the way I am to work at Vogue or do this or work at this publication. And I think it's paid dividends.
Well, yeah, at the time, it's like you already rejected me now. Also, in some way, I didn't have a choice. Like, it's like, you know, I wasn't getting allowed in. So my only route was like my route. But I tried to convince myself, which I think is a positive way of convincing myself, like, it don't matter, I'm just doing my thing anyway. Like, instead of taking it on as if I could have easily been like, oh, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I'm just going to just go do something else. But no, I was just like, I want to do it. I'll just, not with you lot.
At this point, Alize, were you like really passionate about styling now? Because obviously before it was just like, so why do you think, I find it so interesting. One thing I love about Stylist is like, all right, cool. It's one way to know that you have style yourself. You know how to style yourself. But like, how did you get to the point where you realize, wow, I can.
I just loved the final image. When you see the final picture and you work with photography you really like as well, that's major key. And you see that final thing and it just looks so beautiful and you feel like you've done that. And it actually is like a beautiful work of art. I think that's genuinely what it was. I loved being able to piece all those little things together. All the pieces of the puzzle is such a big team that comes together to make that. And like when I see beautiful final image, like there's nothing better than seeing that. I can't lie. Whenever like we get work back when it's like stills and stuff, or even like video, and it just looks so peng, you're just like, wow, there's no better feeling than that. And like, yeah, that's probably the only reason why that's kept me going to this.
When you first started though, like, did you ever question whether you would be able to do it, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And then what kind of got you?
As you start, the more you get into it and the more you're like, it's also just like at the beginning how much you're making or making nothing at all. And like the pressures of life are coming thick and fast, you know what I mean? You're like, shit, I actually need to work. And like, it's generally a freelance industry, and that is a hard thing to do and convince other people that that's cool too. Like, I was very lucky I was still living with my mum and dad and they like weren't super onto me, but there was lots of times that I didn't have any money. Like, you know what I mean? I was living off hind soup for a while. Like, I was traveling to do like e-commerce jobs and that. Like, got such bad acne from that. Please don't eat anyone that.
Why? Because you were stressed.
There's so much sugar in hind soup.
Oh,
Okay,
I thought you meant you got acne from traveling for the e.
no, I got so much acne from eating hind soup.
Shit. Hey, that we're never gonna get them.
That's why it's a trap. Poverty's a trap, man.
No, it is. It's a vicious cycle. But
couldn't believe it.
so
Yeah.
sorry,
Anyway,
Alize.
yeah. I digress. So yeah, like I left uni. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. Like pattern fair connects. Like, do you know what I mean? Da-da-da-da. Then you realise, shit, it's the real world. Got real bills. There's no backup plan. Like, this is it. This is for real now. Like, you got to... Everything you've been trying to do for the past 5 years is equated to this moment. You got to find it. Applying for bare things. Found, like, a lot of e-commerce freelance stuff. Worked from, like, £50 a day up to, like, £75 a day to, like, up to, like, £100 a day. But that took a while. Imagine, like, I got up to senior role and then they closed the department. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, my days. What the...
I was so pissed. I'd gone from £50 a day, yeah, to like it's £100 a day, and I was like, yeah.
Double though? What?
Yeah, because you lead the thing. Also, you're doing 90 shots a day.
Wow.
I was working on a mother care account, just stuffing tiny baby things all day, trying to make it look symmetrical. It's so boring. It's horrible. It's a massive cold warehouse with one toilet for 100 people. It's bad. Anyway, they shut it down, and I was like, fuck, what am I going to do now? I had to, like, find loads of different... I found another one. I was like, okay, cool. And it's down the road from my mum's house, so that was perfect. I was like, yes. And I was, like, trying to supplement all the things around that with, like, portfolio stuff. Essentially, it's free or really badly paid as well. And then also what I did, which really helped me, is, like I used to do, like, doors and stuff. So I'd always, like, work clubs.
Oh.
So I'd, like, I was a door girl, or, like, I'd have events. Like, I did loads of parties when I was younger as well. So it was just loads of little hustly bits to try and like get by. Like,
do you know, Alize? Sorry to cut you again.
Yeah, no, go on.
But
you cut me. I'm just waffling on. Yeah, like.
From seeing people's fashion journeys, yeah, because it's mad that you probably wouldn't expect me to fixate on the fact that you was going to parties and you worked on the doors and stuff. But like hearing like Jerry Lorenzo talk about how parties somehow helped him in a way make Fear of God. I don't know if you've heard that. Do you want me to explain it?
I didn't know that.
Basically,
but that kind of makes sense though, because club culture, how I met all the people that are who they are now, like having fun, like organically, and also because I love a party. I love to dance, I love to be out and and obviously that's where I started to be like, what am I gonna wear tonight? I'd make stuff to wear, like I'd like start like cutting my stuff up. Yeah. Also at the time, like it was a little bit of a different time. You couldn't just order off PLT and it came the next day, and it was just a little bit more of a DIY. And I was very vintage, like you know, just cutting up my shit and like making tops out of tights and stuff like that. Like it was, I like that every Thursday and Friday. Be like, what am I gonna wear tonight? All right, God. Can't sign up. Okay, like also I didn't have money to be buying new stuff all the time. So it was like that was cool. That was a cool time, I can't lie.
And the reason I ask that is because it's like, yeah, party culture and whatnot. For fashion, because obviously you're going out, you're seeing people, as you said, you need to wear something new or whatever. It really influences.
Also, because we were always getting our picture taken.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I was like, yeah, I had to,
you had to put it on.
Show out, babe. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted people to see what I was wearing that night. And like, it was just fun. It was like, it wasn't pressured as well. I wasn't feeling like, oh my God, I must look a million. Like, I wasn't anxious about it. I was like, actually like, it was fun for me. Yeah. Like my best friend Ari would come to my house when we go yo-yos every Thursday. She'd come like 6 o'clock, start getting ready. Do you know what I mean? Start exchanging clothes and stuff. Like it's perfect. It's such a beautiful experience together. Like get ready together, go and meet new people, have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? It's digital camera season.
Damn.
Yeah, upload all the pictures to Facebook next day.
Like
do you know what I mean? It was like it was nice. It was so fun, and like I met so many people from that. Like,
you know what, Alize, I'm so happy you brought that up as well, because in the conversations I've had with people within fashion or whatever, it's like often people can speak about the fact that you obviously need to work really hard because it's tough, you have to juggle stuff. But then on the other side of it, it's so important to be outside experience and stuff, because that really influences what you're doing.
Every human, you need your downtime. You need to socialize. You need to be able to be free. Like we're not here on this planet just to work. Like we're not. Obviously, my work was with passion. That's what becomes hard. It's like it's a hobby. At the beginning when I done it, I wasn't expecting any money from it. I didn't care. Like I didn't even know how much you made from it. I just really like doing it. And then once it becomes a business and becomes a job, that's a completely different thing, because then it's like, okay, you got targets and blah, blah, blah. But at the beginning, I just loved doing it. It made me feel good. And that's why. And then it was a journey to make it into like a business. That kind of takes the joy out of it a little bit, I can't lie. I've had times in my work career where I was working 6 days out of 7 because it was busy and you don't want to turn down anything. And like, you're just sad. You're drained and you're sad. And I was just like, I'm the kind of person, like, if I'm overtired, I start crying. Like you have to have breaks. You have to have rest. Even breaks for inspiration. You know, like when you go away, or like even if you just went to a countryside for like a day, the respite you get from that, and you'll come back on Monday and you'll feel like, I feel like, well, personally, I'm not speaking for the nation. Like, I feel like I need that to come back and I can attack it again. You can't be bogged in it all the time. It's just not natural.
It's so interesting you're saying this, 'cause like recently, Alize, I've just been having so many conversations that have been like almost tying into one. So I was with my guy, Loco, the other day, and I was telling him how I felt kind of burnt out recently, and he was like, Jerome, it's so important to take breaks because our brains are kind of like calculators.
It's
so it's like
literally constant.
you're doing all the numbers or whatnot and you're trying to find the answers for something, but the break is like pressing the equals button type vibes. And he basically told me a story where he was like, the guy that made Morse code was was on his little typewriter or something, and he was fixating, oh my god, I can't find it. And then one day he was like, F this, and then he just went to the beach, and then it came to him, and then he was on the beach and he did the first, no, not Morse code, it must have been something else, whatever it was. He was on the beach, and then that's when he did the equation.
That's it.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's honestly so true. Like, even like me and my boyfriend, we just came back from Atlanta, and like that whole time, like a wholesome, like a nice week of just like
switched off,
not being in the mix, because when you come back to London's very stressful. Like, every part of London is stressful, especially when you're running your own business, you're paying the cost of living bills. Like, it's not, you're always on. And like, when you're freelance, you have to be on. There's no off, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And that, the anxiety of that is taxing. Like, knowing, it's so mad, like you can be up and then you're down. You know what I mean? It's the same, like COVID. Bruh. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to just like, I don't know.
Pack it in.
Yeah, I was just like, no one knew what's going to happen, innit? Right. And at the time, it was just like, I was like, okay, no one really needs a stylist. Like, I'm like the most like, I'm not a trade. I'm not like, it's like I'm a luxury item. Do you know what I mean? My job is more of a luxury item. And that's when I was just like, yeah, I don't really like that. I'm disposable. And it started to make me really think about like, future-wise, where do I want to go with this? Because also I'm like, I don't think I'm going to want to do this forever.
Yeah. Do you know what? Cool. Let's go back to, we're going on so many
things
I like actually. But going back to, let's say, the styling journey. Where are we at now? Because you were telling me you was doing the e-com stuff.
And parties. And So e-com. Then I started to get like more of a little client base, like a little like, you know, one thing there, one thing there. Like, people were starting to ask me to do things, and like I had a lot of people, my friends, a lot of people that I knew were in music, and it was like just word of mouth, and I would do like little odd things here and there, just trying to get by really. Like, I was trying to push to do portfolio. Like, my plan was a little bit portfolio, a little bit of e-com, a little bit of like something, and then work doors Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. And at least I know I can pay for my little things here and there to get those other bits in check. And that was just, I didn't really want for much, you know what I mean? I was just trying to get my shit done, and now and again I'd get like a random job, do you know what I mean? But then that would always happen, is that I'd be pressured into getting a job, and then like a couple months later something else would happen. I'd be like, fuck you, I'm gone. But then you get that's the thing, what was annoying in the whole process is sometimes like you get what you feel is your big break, and then it's crickets. Okay, like you get your big thing, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna be popping now.
So what was your first experience?
Well, I was in the Adidas campaign like 20 years old for the Olympics.
Sick.
And I was like, I'm done, I made it. I'm on billboards and I'm in the shop. And then after I was like, yeah, no. Okay, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? So it was like, as unrecognized as like a fashion person as well. Like, so there was lots of things of like, people think you're doing better than you are because they're looking from an outside perspective, but actually you're just there just trying to grind long. But yeah, after a while, it's just a long grind, innit? And then I got I got a specific client that like I was with for a long time, and like we really grew together. But then there was another point, I was like 26 now, and I was doing stuff, and I was like, I just don't think I can make this a full-time thing. Like I'm not able to like fill in those gaps. Like it's all good, but I'm living at mum and dad's. Like I don't have real world. Like, I'm paying tiny rent. I'm paying tiny bills. Like I'm living hand to mouth. How can I make this? How will this be sustainable? Like I wasn't able to see it.
Do you have a moment where, I don't want to say shit hit the fan, but that feeling hit fever pitch, like you was like...
Yeah, honestly, because I went to see my uncle. My uncle was living in LA at the time, and I was like, I think I need to change it because I don't know where this is gonna go, and like I'm getting older now. Yeah, and I went to see him, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to change this because how am I gonna? And I wasn't catching up with everyone. I was seeing all my friends, like, you know, they
Really
were doing,
sporadically.
you know what I mean, like. They're all in normal corporate jobs or normal jobs, and they're starting to like, you know, do milestones that I wasn't able to do, and I was just a bit like, this is making me feel a bit shit, like, and like, I want to have a comfortable life, I want to have a secure life, like, I'm not really what you would say is someone that's like, as much as I work for myself, I actually don't like not having security. Like, as soon as like I see a certain number in my account, I start panicking. Like, I start getting really like
anxious,
and I'm like, okay, no, I'm mad.
Gotta do this.
Selling shit, like, you know, vintage, like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I always feel like I'm like this close from like, even when I'm doing really well and I've got savings now and stuff like that. It's like. I think it's also from a working class background, having things that like happen when we grew up and stuff, like the chips could turn at any time, and it's just so that feeling of uncertainty is not, it's always there. Yeah. But what was I saying? What was that?
Wait, question. Where were we?
Oh, so I went to my uncle.
I
went to my uncle and I was like, I just don't know anymore.
And what did he say?
And he was like, you know what, yeah. Okay, this is the next part. So my uncle's a director.
Yep.
He's doing very well now. Really proud of him. Yeah. So yeah. No, he is doing really well. And so basically he was doing his second feature film. The thing is, yeah, like my uncle's done really well, but I never really lent on it at all. Like also his journey was really long. He was off having to do all the things he had to do. Like coming from where he came from as well. And like he had to like focus on himself to get where he was going.
Is he your dad's brother?
Yeah, he's my dad's youngest brother.
They look a lot alike, innit?
They got different dads as well, so they don't really look alike.
I was confused going through Instagram, like, hold on, is this their dad or?
No, my dad's the oldest, and then my uncle's the youngest. Okay. But yeah, they've all got different brothers, so different dads. So they look different. That's why I get emails sometimes like, oh, your dad. I was like, that's Jan is not my dad. Like, we don't even look alike. Like, we are different shades. Like, but anyway, yeah. So Jan is my uncle. Love him. He's been definitely someone that was like really helpful in my life, as someone that's also creative, been through so much, and that has managed to just be really successful. And it's hard. It's hard producing something for public debate. Like, but anyway, he was doing a movie in America, and he was like, "Listen, I really want you to come and work on it." He was like, "I'll pay for you to go." And I was like, okay, cool. He's like, it's not going to be nothing big or anything. I was like, I don't care. Like, I'll do anything. I was like the lowest assistant, and I got to work on a movie, and it was sick. And it was like an amazing, amazing experience.
So it wasn't even styling?
No, I worked in the costume department, but like I was literally just would pick up stuff and like bring them back. Like I was doing anything that they, like I was going back to complete bottom intern level, which I was absolutely fine to do. And also because I had never had that experience of moving away. I had to learn how to drive in like 3 weeks. I put everything couldn't work. I was like preparing to go. Went there. Also, it was amazing working on such a massive production. Really seeing how every tiny job contributes to this massive thing that you see for an hour and a half, and no one knows what goes into it.
And no one really appreciates.
No, it's actually, you never watch a movie the same. You see how what it takes, and everyone is so instrumental in that. Like, and it's massive team. And it was just so sick. It really opened my eyes. Like, I was just like, also gave me another different level of work ethic, because like you got to work a lot. Like, it's long days, 6 days a week, and like nights and and just, you know, kind of the lonely aspect of it, because everyone moves for a movie. Like, no one's from, like, there will be people that are from there, but everyone that works in film, like, they generally move for the project and they stay there for like 6 months to a year.
Away from their family.
Away from their families and stuff like that. And you have a very family, because you're with each other all the time. Like, I was living with people that I was working with and stuff like that. It was a really also, I lived in Cleveland. So that was very interesting. Very different way of life, different culture shock. But yeah, it was sick. And then as soon as I came back, basically, I was working with my jam at the time. And while I was there, I was still doing stuff for her. So like, I just had like an assistant in London. I would still do stuff from there. Because I was like, spent 6 months there, came back, and then Maya really took off. And it was mad. It was like, the universe said, no, you still need to be a stylist. Because even when I was there working on a film, because my uncle was like, oh, maybe you like costume design, like maybe that should be your thing.
So you started thinking about that?
Yeah, and then while I was there, I was like, I actually don't even like this, you know, this is not for me. Like, I can really appreciate it. I think it's a massive art, but I'm more of like I need quick turnaround. I couldn't be on a project for 6 months, a year. Like, I feel like it was a lot. Like, it was a lot of moving, and just found it a lot. So when I came back, it was weird. I came back and I just started having bare jobs. Yeah, and that was it. Then I didn't look back after that.
They just start coming from what do you think it was?
Yeah.
That made
I
it
think
just
I was Maya had a lot of work, so I was just constantly doing that. And then I feel like one thing I built about this industry is that when people can see you're doing something, you're more in demand. Whether, I feel like that's the thing. Like, if you're out and you're producing, people remember, and then they're like, oh, you're still doing that, okay, cool. Like, do you get it? I feel like that happens a lot. Like, even when I go back to party, like, I had a little bit of a time where like, I didn't really want to go out and do like industry parties, and I was a little bit tired of it, and then I went back out again, and I was like, actually it helps, because you see someone and they remember what you're doing, you talk about it a little bit, and then you ask what they're doing, and it's like a bit of bounce. And I think that's why I was always very, actually the whole of my career, really focused on always posting my work, always posting my work, always talking about my work, or even when it was meaty, like just talking of always showing I'm here, I'm active, I'm doing it because I'm available. I'm available, book me. And yeah, after that amazing work experience, I came back. Maya was just really snowballing. And then that was it. It's like I was full time.
How did you, at that point, because that's a stark contrast from what was going on before America and whatnot.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of turn it into a business? What did that process kind of look like?
Well, as soon as like it started to generate, I was full time working. Like, it was back to back.
Was this the first time you were fully full time?
Well, I had already registered as
yourself?
sole trader.
Okay.
I'd already registered that. I had to do that anyway because I had student finance on my back. But yeah, and then I already had like a small level account because I was never really working. Like, I was always working for myself, so I had like little things come in. I had to like register it, whatever. And then like when I came back, it was starting to like become a little bit more like, and I was like, oh shit, like, okay, like this is more of a business now, and I actually need, like, I knew there was like something in my head, basically once you turn over a certain amount, the business has to become a company. And like, I'd been rolling for a bit, and I was like, oh shit, and I was like, oh, I can't remember, this was like more 2017, 2018. I was like, and I called my client and I was like, oh, I think I've taken in this much now. He was like, why didn't you call me like last month? And I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know anything. I was like, just do it now, man. Sure. Like, he done it, and I was like, oh shit, like this is like actually like legit now.
This is
like,
real.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I've got to start paying like proper like things and that, and like looking at what I'm doing and da. And that's like a really shorthand answer to that. But that was one aspect of that.
Yeah.
And also it's a business because you know that like you are the business. It's you. And because I had targets and goals for my life, I was like, okay, I've done work like 10 years now of like and I was like, it's a business and I want it to get to another level and I want to take in X amount. I want to move out of my mum and dad's. I need to be making this. I need an office. I can't be working. I was getting deliveries like constantly to my mum's flat. She was like getting so annoyed, and it was creating like mad tension in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, like, it's passive aggressive tension.
Them ones.
Yeah, it's like you're making mess and and it's like it's tiny, innit? It's like it's a lot to handle. And I was like, okay, I can't just keep working out of my bedroom anymore. Like, how can I like push that forward? And then I ended up getting an office, which for me was like a big financial. I'd never really paid for anything before. Like,
it's a real overhead.
Yeah, it's an actual overhead. It's like something I actually genuinely have to pay for. Like, at least I always knew that I just had to like keep myself alive. Now it's like I've got something. I got like, it was like £500 a month. I was caught, random, 3 floors up, flights of stairs, all the cases, deliveries, babe, paid my dues, yeah. And but that was also another step in making it a business because like, I had a place to work from. Like, this is my space. Clients will come in there like,
sorry, Alize, let me cut you there.
Yeah. So I feel like it fast tracked like a bit of a weird time, but it's like it actually started to like just really quickly
And I feel like the conversation. What do you think? I think it's moving at a good pace.
No, but it's like it got to a certain year, and like after I came back from the movie, and honestly, it's just changed.
Yeah.
My life just changed. Like,
it's like it was real exponential growth.
Yeah. But I don't think it was exponential because I had been doing so much things beforehand. Like, I had been building that for a really, really long time. So maybe it's just that moment it was meant to happen. Do you know what I mean? And I think when I went to the movie, because I kept saying, I don't think I want to do this. I missed it. I missed it so much. I missed styling. I remember I did like an editorial for Viper magazine and they sent it to me in America. And I saw it and I was like,
wow, yeah.
I was like, I miss this so much. Like, I miss shooting. Like, I miss like...
set.
Yeah, well, I was on set.
But that type of set.
Like, I was miss like those wins, seeing those pictures and like seeing my like people going to events and I was just like, I miss it.
And seeing the feeling they get from what you...
Yeah, and I was like, this is me. I am meant to be a stylist. I had some doubt. I went off to do something else, which I had the luck and the pleasure of doing, the privilege of doing, having that experience. So I came back and I was like, nah, this is it for me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it gave me that inspiration to come back and be like, nah, this is
Came back with a battery in the back. And I was going to say, Alize, obviously throughout the conversation, you told us about your journey and we've seen that you really grafted for this. And then what I wanted to kind of get at when I asked the question of when you kind of turned it into a business or whatever, that's a huge step and it's a huge achievement. But it's interesting how the way you positioned it was like, all right, cool, it's a business now, but I also want to achieve this, this, and this. At that point, did you ever kind of take time or have moments where you were like, wow, like I'm actually doing this and like kind of celebrate yourself?
Especially in the last couple of years. Like, last couple of years, like after I actually genuinely moved out from my parents, I moved out of my parents at 29. Like, I think for me, I was like late. Obviously, it's changed now because it's even gotten worse.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
But like, you know, like I'd seen other people you see everyone doing that life or whatever. And yeah, I left. It was after COVID. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm basically doing everything I wanted to do. I work for myself. I can live. I can pay for stuff. Got nice clothes. Can go on holiday. Yeah, and I do things I genuinely like doing.
So
like for me, I know it sounds so like it's not that much. Well, you say it's not that much. It's like I am living I go to events, people invite me. I'm literally living the little dream that I said I wanted to do. That's it. Like, yeah.
Do you have a moment? I just fixate.
No, but it's amazing. Like, it's amazing for me. Like, even sometimes, like I get asked to go to an event and like talk about a brand or like I get a car there. Like when they get to pay for a car there, I'm like, wow, I'm like famous. You know what I mean? It's like that's sick for me. Like, that's sick. Like, who would have thought that? That's so cool.
No, do you know what, Alize? The reason I ask is because obviously having the different conversations I've had with people who are so successful in their own right, I always want them to kind of remember to take the time out to really appreciate what they've done, because your story started years ago. Like, imagine if when you that lady at your university, what was her name, Polly or something?
Nah, or Pippa from Vogue.
Pippa, sorry.
Lady
from uni or whatever has said, when she said that thing to you that she said, and then at that point you was like, I can't do this, and you just rested on your laurels and just went and ended up doing something you didn't enjoy or whatever, like your story would have quote unquote not ended, but wouldn't have like
also,
got here.
If I had listened to everyone, what would have happened as well?
True.
Like, which I wasn't. Also, there's one thing about me. Like, once I made my mind up, my mind is made.
It was stubborn.
I'm done.
What's your stance?
Yeah, Cancer.
Okay.
But I think it's just like I'm impulsive and like I listen. Like sometimes I just got inner like feeling and like inner feeling counts for a lot. Like you really have to listen to that. And like sometimes the sign doesn't just feel right. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you're gonna feel like it's to your detriment, or that could have been a really good bag, or like that could have been that. But actually, more time you've listened for a reason, because there'll always be another door that opens. Like even sometimes I even think with like money, like there was a time like I was doing everything,
Never saying no.
because I wasn't sure, and you never really know where something's gonna do or and you're just like, I just need to start treasuring nesting. Also, I started to have like assistants. I had to pay them. That's a whole other thing. Like once you can't do it, this business on your own. It's way too much. And like that's another thing that made it feel like a business like shit. Like I've got people that like rely on me and that now. Like
this is actually their job.
Yeah, and they need to be well paid and well fed and like have to be well treated, and like that's what the company has to be represented by them, and we have to have company culture and like things like just dumb stuff like like sometimes we'll go for dinner together because I know that makes it like good, like good vibes and that, you know what I mean? Like we will have to get along, like having people come in, like managing the team, basically telling them when they've done something wrong, but not in a bad way, so they don't feel crushed. Like, how do you do that?
How did you learn to do all of that?
Babe, it's so hard because I'm so like, I've been someone that's really hard found, which I taught a lot of people understand, like, well, how you grow up is how your communication style is, and like I don't have good communication because I don't grow up in a family that had good communication. Like, so sometimes either I build things up and I say it in a mad rude way because I don't know how to say it, or like overthink it and then it comes out just rude.
Yeah.
And now I've had to learn how to like just say things in a way that's like has a positive turn, so it doesn't feel like you're making someone feel like shit. Because everyone can also redeem themselves unless they done something mad and then you're just like whatever. But you have to give the opportunity for someone to say their side.
Facts.
And then also give them opportunity to be able to like redeem that. If they don't, then maybe they're just not a good fit. Yeah.
Have you heard of the sandwich technique?
Is that the
giving feedback? So it's
No, I've heard the sandwich technique on how you should plan your day.
Okay, no, I ain't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's a good ADHD hack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sandwich technique for feedback is, let's say one of your assistants does a little mess up or whatever. You start off by saying, okay, you've been doing this well, blah, 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 blah. So that's the first part of the sandwich.
As a nice intro.
Yeah. And then you go, okay.
Come in nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you go, okay, cool, but you didn't do this, and this, and this. But then you end it with, okay, you haven't done this, but here's how you can do it. And then here's how you can continue to improve type vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good way to give people.
Well, I feel like it's hard. It's hard to manage a team. It's also hard when it's your baby. No one is ever going to work for your baby like you work for your baby.
Facts.
And you have to know that. You have to know that early on. And I do feel like also respecting your people you work with and giving them that time. Also, I think I always look at the assistant things that like they have to learn from me to go off and do it on their own. It's not like just them working for me. It's like essentially I have to train this onto them, and then like then they go off, they leave naturally. Like so, it's always going to be like a little bit of a revolving door.
Yeah.
But you got to keep that a great experience for both of us. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes,
yeah,
it does. You know what, Alize? Okay, so, because obviously you do so much. I feel like I've got two more pockets of things I want to talk about.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to talk about the influencer stuff.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk about the founder Alize stuff. So there's a couple of things I want to ask. But regarding the styling stuff, just on the skill or styling as a concept, what makes a good stylist?
I think a people person, someone that's able to empathize and get the energy of like your client. Obviously creative, naturally. Good eye. Also is good at implementing strategy. So understanding what the market is, the target audience of the person, what could be something that you could build on for partnership at a later date for your client and yourself. I think tenacity, like you really do need to be kind of hungry and understand that it's a long game. And patience, and always come across, have a great attitude even when you don't feel that way.
Would you say, do you reckon that's probably like the hardest thing to do when it comes to styling?
Yeah, I think it's hard. Like from for me, like I've always had like mental health problems, and it's hard being in a front-facing industry when you always have to put the face on. And I prioritize putting the face on above everything else. And in other situations, that's been really hard because you come back and you don't feel that way, and it's like having to pretend essentially every day. And I prioritize that because that's the business, and the business comes first because the business has always come first. But as of late, I've started to realize, like, you know what, you have to tackle that. Like, it is really hard. That's always going to be my life. I'm going to always have to be that person for work, but also have enough time by myself to kind of regenerate that and like have those off times, have time with my friends and family, like really, and also like work on myself in a separate way to make sure that I can be the best person at work and not pretending, but actually enjoying. So yeah.
It's so interesting that it's taken you, I'm not going to say long, but it's taken you a while to get to
That's a process, man.
of realizing Alize is the most important cog in this whole machine.
Yeah, and without you are the most important cog in your whole machine. You are the machine.
Yeah.
Without you being the best you can be on a daily basis, which only you can give to you and prioritize for yourself, you can't be that person for other people, yourself, or your business. And like, that's important. Like, that's so important. So important. And like, I learned that now. Yeah.
Even me, I've only been learning that stuff recently as well. Just working too hard and that, and just
life comes at you fast.
Does,
and like,
man.
also we have the pressure of wanting what we want, and like, it does come at a price, and sacrifice. It does require sacrifice. And after a while, then you start realizing, okay, I need a bit more for myself. But I think that was just it's a part of the journey.
Yeah.
It really is a part of the journey.
Because I feel like if you have that mentality at the very beginning, sometimes it can hinder you from working
because it's like you can't really take that many breaks. Honestly. Now I can afford to take breaks. I know what's important for me to do and what's not important for me to do, and like what I actually want to do and what I don't want to do, and having faith also in the process that if I say no to something, I know because something else will come along that really is for me. Like, before I didn't have that, I was always scared. I'm not so scared anymore. So that is because I've had that 10-year, 12-year span of that, not because it happened yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm really happy about my journey. I wouldn't have had it any other way. It's been long, but honestly, it's got me to a place I'm actually really, really happy in.
It's made you the person you are today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of the styling and stuff, Alize, one thing I kind of noticed about you is that it almost feels like you've been positioned as almost like a stylist for up and comers at a certain point, and I don't know how. I don't know whether that's been a conscious thing. And let me give more colour to the question, So I've noticed that you styled Jorja early on, you styled Kid the Kuds early on, you styled Parsalute early on. You styled a few artists when it's like, I don't know, maybe labels are coming to you to say, you know, we believe that you're the person that can. Well, like, how did that kind of happen?
We know Jorja. I know Jorja.
Okay.
So like, I think it was so random how that happened. It was like one of my best friends, photographer. We always worked together. And she was like, I know some girl from Birmingham. She's like really sick. Do you want to shoot with her and that? And it was before Blue Lights, and I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. And we met, and she was really nice, and
That simple.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah, I'll shoot. I love doing little tests. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, loved. And my friend shot on film, and I always loved shooting on film. So I was like, yeah, cool. Then Blue Lights came out, and I was like, you're sick. Yeah, I love that song. I was like, oh, wow, amazing. And we just have always been cool, and that's why other times I've been able to work with her and stuff. And then like with Pa and Kidda, I knew their manager, innit? And like he hollered me to do it, and I thought Kidda was really cool, and like that was the first time I met Pa, to be honest. I got that because of Jules as well, because I knew Jules as well.
Okay. The producer.
Yeah, and that was his song. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, labels have come to me a lot for up and comers. Also, I do feel like our scene is still it's still kind of a baby mode. Like when I started, there wasn't any money or people weren't being signed for that. Like it's literally changed and come up so much in the past like 5 or 6 years. And yeah, I have been lucky enough to be a part of that. What I will say is that I think that's why I don't, now as I'm getting older, like I'm not so pressed on like being in music, because I think in the UK there is a bit of a ceiling. It's either you're doing like a couple of people, or then it's all new people. And I don't think I've got like, I don't think it's my bag anymore, really, that much. Like, I work with Yinka Bikini now. I really like that.
Yeah, and have you started with ZZ as well then? Or you just... Yeah, they look fantastic.
Yeah, thank
you. For that, is there a show on Channel 4?
Yeah,
right?
for Unapologetic. And, like, I love working with Yinka. Like, she's great. And we came up around the same time as well, actually. I've known her for time from before this as well, when she was on Rinse. So, like, that's been a nice little full circle moment. I have bare full circle moments.
I was going to say, it seems like
I have so many full circle moments. But I think that's just testament as well to, like, you meet people all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, and the world is very small. Like, you start to just kind of go back to things that you really wanted or met, and like people that you had good energy with. I feel like sometimes you just always kind of reconnect.
Yeah. Cool. So cool. That's enough for the stylist.
Okay, cool.
The influencer stuff,
which
I find so interesting as well, Alizé, because at the beginning of the conversation, I was saying how it's like, it's just so good to see the fact that you're not just a stylist, quote unquote. And there's nothing wrong with stylists that heavily promote just their work. But I've always loved, because remember I was telling you that I literally scrolled through your whole Instagram.
I have something to add to Stylist.
Oh no, go on.
Because that's another full circle moment.
Okay, cool.
That's really cool, and I'm super happy with. So like, you know, when we used to go rave and stuff, like, so I do Cleo Soul now. I started Cleo Soul for like a Montclair thing, and like was so amazing because we met. Like, we were 17. We met at Yo-Yo's, like, through mutual friends and stuff, because she used to, like, perform and stuff them times. It was cool, and we was really cool, and obviously everyone's just kind of, like, separated into their own adulting, and then, like, when she came back with Rose in the Dark, like, that was just such a sensational album, and I was, like, a proper mega fan, but so mad to also know someone and see where they came to. And then when we did Montclair, I was just, like, it was like a bigger moment. Wholesome. It was a way bigger moment for me, because I was like, as much as like I love your music and I know you from a different time, and like it was just a really enjoyable thing to work on, especially like working with like a smaller team and stuff like that. So yeah, things like that, that's the rewards of the job, where it feels more than just styling. It feels like it's like a bigger purpose to it. But yeah, that's my thing.
And it's interesting. It's almost like getting paid to work with your friends.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's
Honestly,
what it's about. That's the goal for all of us.
That's the goal,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, sorry, Alize, going back to like the influencer stuff, as I was saying, like I just love the fact that you've just always been Alize, man. And I think like when I see your TikToks, I was laughing at one of your TikToks the other day, you know, when you were saying you were saying that you thought your flatmate was ordering food or something like that.
That was so weird.
When someone came to the door, was like, "Where's my?"
And honestly, like banged up on the door as well. Like, it was early, and we had gone out, so we were like mashed up, because I was like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. On a bank holiday Sunday.
Voyage.
Poor person.
Do you reckon they found the phone yet?
The AirPods, no.
Oh, the AirPods, yeah.
Also, all of that for AirPods. You know they're gone. Also, who's going to admit that? Yeah, I stole your bag last night. I have your AirPods. Like, I don't feel like he thought through. Sorry, for context, yeah. So it was a bank holiday Sunday. I'd gone out the night before with my flatmate, who's also my friend, and like we'd woken up in the morning. It was like 10 a.m. and I hear someone like proper banging on the door, yeah. And I thought she ordered food, because normally you order Burger King. I thought it was a bit early. That's what I thought was weird. I was like, a bit early, but I was like, okay, whatever. And then she came into my room like later that day and was like, "Did you hear all the banging?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Someone come to the door saying my bag was stolen last night and my AirPods are in this house." And she was like, "We do not have your AirPods." Like, we do not have your AirPods, goodbye. And I was like, that's really like brazen. Also, like, I'm not gonna lie, what would be the next step of that? Like, he probably like, also, this was funny. So you saw your AirPods were in Halsden and you just bowled up. Bowled up. I was like, I'm gonna knock on that door or every door on the street. Like, what's the next part of that story?
Yeah.
What is the person like? Are you gonna like interrogate everyone? Like,
we don't even know. He might not even still be here. You could have knocked on the wrong door.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought was weird. I was like, babe, just let them go. Get the wire ones. They're £20 now. They're like, yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
This is why I love stuff, because it's funny. It's your personality. Do you know what I'm saying? It's you. Like, I just kind of wanted to ask, like, was that like a conscious effort to start doing those sort of things outside of your styling stuff? Because it's easy to just rely on the fact that, you know, I'm a stylist, people know me now, let me just keep putting my work out there and not have like another almost like creative muse or outlet.
It was by accident. It was not on purpose at all. When I first started, I was actually, my mentality was like, you just post your work. I think that was also a big thing at the time. Like, Instagram wasn't like influence. It wasn't that. And I feel like also to be seen, what I felt like, to be seen as a professional creative, you were just meant to post your work
and disappear.
And keep it professional. So I was really like kind of quite a bit pedantic about that at certain times. I'll be like, I just want to make sure I'm posting a lot of what I'm doing and like being seen as a professional creative person. You know, over time, I feel like I was just like kind of like, especially at uni, like I post about my outfit sometimes, and I kind of just like doing that. And I was like, there was like a bit of a blogging time, and I was like, I like showing my things that I like wearing. I just love a picture as well. And then over time, it just kind of built. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't strategic. And over time, it built its own. Like I just amassed more followers on Instagram. I don't even have a lot, let's be honest, like in the grand scheme of things.
20,000?
Yeah, but it's not. Like when I'm being in that world, that's nothing.
Okay, yeah, in the influencer
It's
world.
like nothing at all. It's a drop in the ocean, frankly. Like it wasn't really I always had a job essentially, so it wasn't I have to do this or grow this. It was just a nice secondary thing that I can do that just randomly was organically happening. And like, yeah, like I don't know when it started, to be honest, I can't lie to you. I don't know when I started to get interest in like paid partnerships and being paid to do things. It just started happening. And then like the more it was happening, I was like, and I knew like because of like colleagues and peers and like and also clients, like how much people getting paid for stuff, I was like, I should probably like pay attention to this. Because I was like,
There's the bag there.
Yeah, this could actually like be cool. And I enjoyed it. I actually enjoy creating content.
And you're really good at it as well.
Like I enjoy doing it. So it's not even like it was it's taxing for me. I was just like, there's actually something that, what was nice as well is that like I could do something else that was making me happy. I think at the beginning of my career, I was very like, you know, like now a lot of people have various things that they do. I was brought up in a school where you mastered one thing and you did it right and that was it. Like, actually, as we're coming out of this, actually you can do different stuff. Like there is no rules of that, and like that's okay, and actually you should do, because it probably gives you a little bit of sanity to be able to like do other things and not just be like pranging to like one single thing. So it was just nice to have another project, and it was just like I can do what I want with it. There's no like, I'm the master of that. Do you know what I mean? It's about me. Yeah. So there's no rules of that. I choose what I want to do.
Yep.
And I choose what I put out there. And I always try and remember that it's fun, that it's not like, and if I don't want to do it, it's cool because it's not my be all and end all.
Yeah. How do you kind of balance that? Because you know, you mentioned obviously when it comes to the influencer stuff, there's the bag there, but obviously you're a big stylist, you're doing everything you've got on that side of things. Like, in order to get to maybe where you want to be in like the influencer world, do you have enough resource to make that happen, if that makes sense?
I think what I've tried to see it as, is that my interest is not to become a massive influencer. Like, that's actually not I don't see it as that. I don't think, I want to reach, obviously I have goals in it. Like sometimes I'm like, I want to reach X amount, but I don't feel like, I don't feel that inside. My goal is like, I want to be able to create content, make a living off it, but also like, I'm going to have my own podcast, by the way.
Yeah, sick. I seen that, yes. Yeah,
yeah, so like, that was another thing. It's like, I just want to make things. Like, that was it. It's like, I just want to make things and I want people to like it. And that's it. That's actually my end goal. Like, I don't feel like I want to be Patricia Bright. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, no, I don't think that. I just
want to be Alize.
Yeah. And I just want it to I feel like I just want to do the things I like doing, hit my targets every month, and that's it.
You set yourself like.
Yeah. After it started becoming more of a business, and like, I was like, I started to, before, I don't know what's like for everyone in freelancing, but I'd be like, you can't really count how much you're making because it's just all kind of comes sporadically or in different parts. And after a while, when I was doing more back to back, I started to like make a spreadsheet and like count how much I was doing. So I had like a little bit more of a mental, and it also put into perspective for me that I was like, that's when I was like, I can leave, I can pay for my life, like I can do this, like I can do this, like I can save, I can put this here, I can put this there. Like I was actually like more putting it down, and I was like, okay, cool. And then after like last couple of years, I'd be like, actually, I feel like mentally it's good for me to be like, I want to make X this month, I want to make X this month, I want to make X this month. So I just got I just know it just feels like just like a bit of a motivation and a bit of manifestation.
Yeah, why not? And
Yeah,
exactly. When you hit them targets, it feels good and whatnot.
it does, and I feel less anxious because I know that I've got everything covered.
Okay, you're in control of it.
Which that just comes from not knowing that you're gonna get your salary at the end of the month. It's just that. It's just what makes me feel more comfortable.
As a freelancer, not so you have to think.
No, you don't have to think.
Sense.
That's just something that's helped me cope. Like, that's it, yeah.
Do you know what's interesting, Alize? The fact that we've, because obviously when we speak about bigger influencers and whatnot, I think often when we think bigger, the first thing that comes to our mind is the metrics, how many followers they got, how much engagement they have. But sometimes I feel like a lot of these influencers don't actually have real influence.
Also, there's another thing in that, like, even when I just mentioned, do I want that? Do I want people up in my life? Like, it comes with a whole other thing. Like, do I want people writing forums about me? Like, it's like, do I want people taking, like, I don't know how much I would, I want to be like, I've always wanted to be respected for what I do. It's a lot to take in. People are weird. I don't know what it's like to have like 500,000 followers. Do you know what I mean?
People,
a million people. Like, and you forget, like, the more I was getting bigger, by the way, like, even in my tiny sphere, I went carnival last year, and on the Monday, and I was walking around, and I had like 6 people come up to me like, oh, I love like watching your things, and it's like, you start to oh my God, like, I'm not just posting for myself. And that gets a bit like weird, like, it gets a bit scary.
Then you start kind of overthinking what you're...
Like, I started like, I consciously like basically stopped posting when I was going out and stuff now, like, because I was like, oh, it's just a bit, I don't know. You start just, it's the privacy aspect, especially working with essentially like all my clients are famous people. You start to see what happens in their lives. Like, you start to realize like actually privacy and making sure that you're protected is really important. And also when sometimes you're just maybe just not that person a little bit.
And you can only realize that over time, basically.
Yeah, and watching what other people go through. And like, yeah, it's like, I want to be successful and I want to, you know, be able to do what I'm doing, the things I like doing. Do I want to be like super massive?
Who knows?
Who knows? I'm cool with it. Like, right now, I feel like this is great for me. So,
do you know, Alize, do you know what I love about all your stuff? It's almost like there's an Alize universe. And I think from what I've seen in terms of the work you've done with brands and whatnot and the type of talent you quote unquote worked with, even with your own stuff, I think people have an understanding of that. And that's why, going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation in terms of how long I've wanted to have this conversation, is because like the Alize brand is so powerful. And I think it's more powerful than you might even realize, you know, like, I feel like you've really positioned yourself as, I don't want to say that stylist because you're more than a stylist, but like your name holds weight. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think it's also the length of time
that you've been doing this.
Yeah, it's the length of time. I've actually stuck at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that is testament. It's like, that's the one thing I will take from it. It's like, every time I see my friends, they're like, you know, like, they've seen it, they've been there. Like, it's hard, and I've done it, and I stayed there, and like, you know what I mean? And all the times I wanted to stop and didn't want to do it anymore, I still done it anyway. So I think that's the way. And like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like,
you just kept going. No, I just wanted to say that.
That's the weight. Like, I think the time is the weight. And also I think maybe I'm actually talented at what I do. Because that's actually helped it carry on, whether it's the time or not. I've still managed to do some amazing things and work with amazing people, and it's still going. And maybe because I actually genuinely inside, like, I like it. I like it. I like it. I know when something looks good. I know when some of my works look shit. I know that too. And like, but we can't always be in control of everything. But I always want to be better as well. So, yeah.
Cool. So Alize, thank you so much.
Getting tired now.
Sorry, I got one last bit.
Yeah.
Remember before at the beginning I was speaking about the impact stuff you do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you've always wanted to help people. You've got your styling course. You've got the Note to Self platform.
I don't do that anymore.
Is it?
But we could talk about it because
that
big
was
part.
sick.
Yeah.
I've seen that you done stuff with like what's her name? Get Grace Beverly.
Yeah, we did amazing things.
Patricia.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you did a lot.
We
like,
did some sick stuff. Yeah.
Where do you think that desire? I obviously have my answers in my head because of the course of the conversation, but where do you think that desire to help comes from?
Well, when I first, not desire to help, but just as a note to self, when I first started realizing like that the creative thing was a business, and I actually have a business and I'm a company owner, and like there's so much stuff. It was isolating because none of my friends were working, like my core friends and that. They everyone worked, and it was just a bit like it's just very lonely experience. Like always having to depend on yourself and like always be on 100, always being hustling, always having to think about what I can do next. Not ever having that downtime to just be, because you're always having to be on job. And I noticed there was a lot of women in my life that were also trying to do that and were doing that. And I wanted to just, the first thing it started off was that I wanted to make a vision board making workshop with like a few people that I knew that were like either freelancing or trying to go freelance, and like just to kind of manifest for the next year. And I managed to do it with Adidas, and like we just had a really nice evening. It was just really cute. Like just drank some tea and made some vision boards. And then I called it Note to Self, and then after that I was like, actually I really like that. I think I should like do that again. I was like, I think that's actually really important. It felt really good. Like everyone felt so good after that. I felt like really like a beautiful energy exchange. And I think a lot of people actually like made friends from that and shit like that. And then I carried it on. I was like, I'm going to make a platform, and this is kind of what I don't really know what I want it to be, but I just want it to be a positive space for people to, like a safe space and a place where people can like either make friends or collaborate or just have like support for answers or information that they need to know going forward when they make a business or are in positions of power, maybe even in a corporate setting. And then that's what it was. And I just did like loads of events where people were just invited to come and like share or support each other. People you know what's really sweet? So many people made friends from that platform and that work together now and like have businesses, and they're still cool. And I see it all happening and stuff, and I just think, yeah, that was sick. Like it was a sick moment in time. Like I worked with Puma. I did loads of things with that brand. And then it got to COVID, and like obviously everything changed. And then I couldn't do that in-person events anymore, and everything was moving to online. And then I was really struggling, like not knowing where the next thing was coming from, because styling was my bread and butter, innit? So like, and I was just like, I can't supplement my money into this. I have to prioritize. That is literally the only reason why I stopped, by the way, guys. Sorry. I just had to prioritize. I was just like, I don't know. I'm putting my money into it. Someone was working for me as well, doing it. And I was like, I don't have the infrastructure, and maybe also the momentum. Maybe I just didn't have the inner thing to scale this into a big online thing. And I was just like, I just need to focus. I have to, unfortunately or fortunately, I have to focus on me because the Alize business is what's bread and butter in. And I just said, okay, at first I said I'll take a break, and then actually I just never went back. And I didn't go back because I was like, actually I think I know where I want to go. I did want to focus on the Alize brand. I did actually want to do partnerships for myself. I did want to do that kind of thing. So I let Note to Self go. But ultimately it was sick. Like it was sick in that moment of time. Loads of people ate from it. Loads of people ate from it, like spiritually, mentally, you know. It was sick. But I'm okay. I'm also okay with doing things and moving on.
Yeah, because some things aren't meant to be forever. Do you know what I'm saying?
And then it's pushed me to do other things that I know that I want to do. So like, I've always, I love exchanging. Like I think it's nice being in a room. I think there's nothing more inspiring than like when you're in a room with like-minded people, and at the end you feel like, yeah, I get it now. Like I get why I'm doing this. Do you know what I mean? And we all need each other. We all need other people. It's not a one island thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it really.
That how you ended it was like a great segue, because you spoke about knowing what you want to do. So I'm going to start rounding off. Thank you so much, Alize.
No, that's okay.
It's been an incredible conversation.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed so much. It was worth the wait. Do you know what? Do you know what's interesting, Rash? I don't even think like I asked too many questions that I wanted to kind of get the gems out, but everything you were saying was a gem. Do you know what I mean? So thank you. And yes, I wanted to say, so what can we expect from Alize? What's coming?
So yeah, I'm coming with a podcast. It's a fashion podcast.
Be so good.
It's called Add to Wish List. Love to have you on.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
can't wait.
like, yeah, I'm gonna start shooting that in like May.
Sick.
I just wanted to make more content, invite more people to talk about industry stuff and fun things, and like just yeah, I just like the idea of like making stuff for people to watch and enjoy it, but also talking about what I like too, which is like informative stuff, but also like all the things that people like from my grandma, like where should they get this? Okay, like like I like that, and I feel like I don't know. There's something I've taken from having that platform is that it's nice when women feel better or more confident that they can wear something that they never thought they could wear, and like everyone, you can wear whatever you want, guys. Wear whatever you want. Be as happy and as bold as confident. Like literally, this is a short time to be here. Like, and there's something about clothes that makes you. It's like an expression of like how you're feeling, and like even in my darker times, I'd make more of a conscious effort to dress more brightly or like more with more energy, because it would actually make me feel more energetic. I spoke to someone about that before. Like, I went to meet someone once and she was like, oh, you're wearing grey. She was like, everything about this makes me feel that you're down.
Yeah.
And I was down. It was reflecting out of me. And I was like, there's a part of getting dressed that can really, like, elevate your mood. As soon as you step out, you know you feel good. And that's going to take you on for the rest of the day. And it's small things like that, I know, so...
In fact, I can't wait for this podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. yeah.
She can't wait. So, Alize, again, thank you so much. The way I basically round off every conversation is by asking one last question. What would be your main piece of advice for the next generation of people that wanted to get into fashion, but for you, maybe the next generation of stylists?
I think, basically, what I tell everyone that works for me is like, styling can be a springboard into something else. It's a great formation. It's a great foundation because it teaches you so much. It's like so many transferable skills, and also you can come into it kind of like anytime. Like I think in some ways it's a young person's sport because of the energy and the fact it's so shitly paid at the beginning. Yeah, that's why a lot of people associate it to being a young person's sport, because your responsibilities technically them times in theory are less. But if you want to do it, go for it. Assist, intern. That's your way in. There's nothing more. Like I feel like it feels like such a dead thing to like say, but like work experience is life basically, because it's a trade, so you're literally emulating the person that's teaching you for you to understand it. And collaborate. Meet people, work on stuff, enjoy what you're making as an art. See it as an art form, innit? It might not reward you with money at that moment in time, but the more you have to output the art, unfortunately, for you to reclaim it at a later date. So is that advice? Or is that just like...
perfect. That's perfect. Alize, thank you so much. Alize?
I'm having a nap now.
Hey! That was your conversation.
My eyes are like heavy. I'm like...
Alize, this ain't a question, but basically, could you just look at the camera and say where they can find you or whatever?
Hi guys, so you can follow me on Instagram at Alizé Demange, on TikTok at Alizé Demange, and that's it actually. Yeah, so follow me. Perfect. Enjoy.
And as I always say, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You know how to find us, WMTV_LDN, and keep it locked. Thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It would really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.